Hello, I'm Simon Christie.
And I'm Danny Sparks Cousins.
Welcome back to Your 4x4 and our second day touring around the beautiful Woods Point area. Now last week the trip was quite hardcore, we had a lot of fun, but Danny, what have we got in store for the tracks this week?
Well Simon, it's going to be a lot easier this week. We're going to do a bit of the tourist thing, take some tracks around Woods Point, check out some of the local mines, and hopefully we'll get to Mount Terrible this afternoon.
Sounds like a lot of fun, let's get out on the tracks. Your 4x4 is proudly presented by Verima Diesel, ARB 4x4 Accessories, Piranha Off-Road Products, Kama Rear End Protection, Wholesale Automatic Transmissions and Lightforce Performance Lighting.
Good morning everybody, Alan Johnson here from Piranha, and it is a wonderful sunny morning. In fact, it probably looks like about 2 or 3 degrees out there and I can't see beyond the nose of the car. We got here last night, we did a heap of filming, sat around a big fire. Now, yesterday went very well. It was a pretty tough day, a lot of forward driving, a lot of winching, a lot of really hard stuff. We travelled about probably 500 metres from the pub to a track called Brewery Track, which takes us up a particularly interesting hill. Now, this little hill, I've done this many times in the past, but this time it took us pretty much all day. There was winching, and then there was some more winching, and just for interest, there was more winching. Today's going to hopefully be a little bit less challenging and a bit more perhaps scenic. There's an old gold mine to look at if we can still get to that. There's a track which goes from Knockwood right up across the top of the hill to Mount Terrible, which sounds very exciting. It isn't actually that exciting, but it's a lovely track. And that's called Moonlight Spur. And I believe that has been named after a guy called Captain Moonlight. Now, it sounds like a really good story, so I did some research and I printed out some information on Captain Moonlight. So we're going to go and check that out today as well. Now, depending on how time goes, we might do a bit more as well because there's so much scenery. We have this wonderful area of Woods Point, which was, as I said, settled back in the 1860s, and there's so much history. There's a lot of old gold mining stuff, right through to modern day gold mining at the A1 mine, which is still going. So our hope or expectation today is to have a poke around and have a look-see, see what we can find, pending to whether or not washing us out. So we'll take you along for the journey, guys. Have some fun.
Another climb the stairs to me. She won my heart most certainly, but I don't remember.
Hi, I'm Michael from Piranha. We had a pretty full-on day yesterday with all the winching that was involved. Now today we've got a lot easier trip planned, going around looking at some of the gold mines and doing a few little creek crossings and doing a bit of sightseeing. So all in all, it should be a pretty good day.
I'm Sean O'Donnell from Lightforce Australia. It's our last day today. Looking forward to perhaps a more general touring day today. Yesterday was very hard work. It was some intense technical forward driving. Yesterday there was 36 mil of rain, very wet conditions up in the high country, and it's been raining again overnight. So I think we're in for another wet, slippery day, so hopefully the tracks aren't too challenging and we get around it all safe and minimum of fuss. The spirit of today, it's a bit of a lighter day. We're looking forward to a bit of general touristy type touring. We're going to head off back into Woods Point and then up to an abandoned gold mine that Alan's done some good research about. And then we're going to go for a further drive up through one of the trails up to the top of Mount Terrible. I'm not sure there'll be much of a view up there today because it's pretty much wall-to-wall cloud cover here at the moment. But it'll be nice to get up there and have a look at the more remote areas.
Hi, I'm Rodney from Wholesale Automatics.
And I'm Stuart from Wholesale Automatics.
Day 2 of our trip. We're just about to kick off and we'll be heading out today on another cold and very wintry and very white out sort of a day. It's very thick fog. We can't wait to get out there. The crew are all ready and raring to go. It's going to be an interesting trip. We're heading up through some of the old gold mines and that, a couple of which have now just recently reopened due to the value of gold, become a more viable thing. We'll be heading up to a couple of the mountain points. Alan knows this part of the world like the back of his hands, so it's going to be a great day. We can't wait to get out there and join them.
Yeah, it was an interesting day yesterday. The Tritons had a good test. Spent a fair while setting them up, and we wanted to know what they could do, and they pretty much did what we thought they could do. They kept up with everything else in that sort of terrain. There was a lot of winching, a lot of mud, a lot of water, and thankfully the water and rain we've had overnight has cleaned the cars up for us too, so it should be a good day today.
I was very impressed with the Tritons yesterday. Having two on the trip helped both of us understand the only difference between the two cars yesterday was basically just the two different driving styles. It was interesting to see who's worked and who didn't, and they were actually very, very closely matched. As we went on through the day, we learned much about how much more we could push them, and quite amazed at exactly how far you actually could push these cars, and they did a tremendous job.
Yeah, it was very impressive the way the vehicles handled the terrain. Again, very surprised at what they can do, particularly under those sort of conditions.
It's been great, the atmosphere has been fantastic, but we do have a second day to kick off, and I can't wait to do it.
From this wonderful tranquil place, it's back to the car and the maps and have a look around. We've only got a few hours left before we have to head out, but we have a gold mine that used to be accessible to have a poke into. We're going to go and check out where the Moonlight Spur is on the bottom of Knockwood up to Mount Terrible. And we're going to have a bit of a poke around and enjoy some more of this wonderful scenery, guys. So come along for the ride and let's check it out.
Well, this week's email comes from Mitchell Seckham, and Mitchell has written, "It gets me to places I didn't think possible. I'm pushing the boundaries, plus there's so many modifications you can do to really personalise your rig." Well, Mitchell, there sure is.
For sending in that email, you've won yourself a Lightforce tack torch and stubby holder. All entries go into the running for the ARB twin motor portable compressor, the projector inverter, and the amazing Carryboy canopy worth $3,500. Thanks to all of the sponsors, and check the website for full details.
The next generation of shock absorbers is here. Leading the way in 4x4 suspension development, Old Man Emu introduces the most advanced and finely tuned shock absorber on the market. Nitro Charger Sport incorporates a new valving system that instantly adapts to all terrain for an outstanding smooth ride and phenomenal control. Backed by a 3-year, 60,000 kilometre warranty, you can trust Nitro Charger Sport, built in Australia for Australian conditions.
Does your diesel smoke, lack power, or have poor fuel economy? Then you need the Berrima Diesel treatment. Fine-tuning diesels since 1956, the Berrima Diesel technicians are Australia's leading diesel wizards. From a turbo installation to a high-tech dyno tune, when you think diesel, think Berrima Diesel. Visit thedieselexperts.com and make an appointment for more power, more torque, and better fuel economy.
Sometimes the front runners lead from behind, and when it comes to protecting your rear, Kmart are world leaders in rear end protection and tow bar combinations. The just released Prado 150 is no exception, with a bar that is designed to follow the car's lines and work with your sensors and factory camera. For the best in rear end protection, trust Kmart. It's a statement, not just an accessory, but the toughest of 4x4 trips. For more info, go to kmart.com.au.
today. It's been quite gentle conditions. We've just decided to take some backtracks behind Woods Point. I wouldn't say challenging, but quite a nice change from yesterday, which was extreme and technical four-wheel driving. A little bit of low-range stuff as we come down the hill just to keep things safe. There's been a lot of water around, so just to make sure that we don't slip and we stay under control. The conditions have been very overcast. There's been a lot of mist and fog around, so not great views, but it's just been beautiful to drive through the Victorian forest.
I like to take my time when I travel. It takes a while to get to know the place. Got a lifetime ahead of us, a lifetime behind. With the wheel in my hand and a song on my mind. Ease up.
Left this morning at about 9 o'clock through very, very thick, heavy fog. Certainly Danny and Alan set the speed and also set the tracks up this morning. A lot easier than yesterday, but still not exactly plain sailing. Very, very twisty, some up and down bit, going through some slippery bits and pieces. Very comfortable track, very enjoyable. Have had a great day. We've come down through some of the best tracks around the area, certainly.
Old love that keeps getting better and better and better. Oh, yeah.
This morning was foggy, couldn't really see a lot. It's 1,200 metres elevation, so that's not surprising. And I'm sure there's some amazing views, but really didn't get to see much due to the fog. Headed down to Woods Point, turned off just before I got to Woods Point. Went up the Morning Star track, come across a lot of old gold mines, which are just basically big holes in the ground, pretty much seem bottomless. You could hear something hit the bottom, but it took a long time to get there. One of the most picturesque things about the place is the change in the scenery. There's a lot of gullies and ferns all the way up. Then we pretty much got to the top. The trees seem to get a lot shorter but fatter. And then when we started coming back down the hill again into the valley, you could see that the timber was starting to get taller and thinner. Pretty eerie sort of feeling when you're going through those areas, but at the same time spectacular, very relaxing. A nice morning of touring, which is a bit of a contrast to what we did yesterday, which was pretty much hard work. But today's been nice and relaxing so far, and really looking forward to the rest of the afternoon.
This area was responsible for 60% of Victoria's total gold output for roughly 20 years, so a lot of gold taken out of these hills. Some of the tailings and the old abandoned mines that we looked at on the way through, really quite remarkable pieces of construction. It's a long way down there and it's a big effort in those days, I'm certain.
We're halfway through our second day of touring. We've just come back through Woods Point onto a new track. We've done a few river crossings. They've been quite good. Not very deep, but very exciting nonetheless. We've come up through some of the tracks and of course we've come across the mine, and we've still got another half a day of tracks to go. And from here we'll be turning around and we're heading off to Moonlight Spur and Mount Terrible to end the day.
This is Alan Johnson here on Johnson Hill Track, reporting on gold fever in the Woods Point area. We've rediscovered an old shaft that goes right back into the mountain, we believe about 100 and something metres. There are people who have found specks of gold. Now that's quite remarkable. This is an old closed down gold mine shaft, and this is a real piece of adventure finding this. So guys, come out and enjoy, have a look at the country, it's wonderful. Please note, this is extremely important, we do not recommend or endorse in any way the climbing into of holes in the ground that are probably over 100 years old. You really shouldn't be in there. What we're doing now is heading off from Frenchman's Gap down towards Knockwood, through the river and up Moonlight Spur. We're heading up there to the top of Mount Terrible to the fire tower, and we'll probably finish our trip there this afternoon. It should be a great day out.
Certainly the tracks that we run on today couldn't be done with a two-wheel drive. You've got to have a four-wheel drive. And we were even in low range and that, and we did slide down a couple of the tracks just a little bit. A lot of the corners are quite twisty and quite turny, and some of them clay-based with rock underneath it. So it does make it a very, very treacherous sort of corners. A lot of switchbacks, very, very sharp. So low range, four-wheel drive, all locked in. Keep it safe. Make sure you leave enough room between the car in front, just in case you do get the runaway a little bit, and travel in a group just in case you come unstuck on a corner and need to be just pulled out a little bit so you can keep going.
Been quite a pleasant short drive. Now, the track we've taken takes us past a hell of a lot of old gold mines, which are surprisingly still open. You can actually see down them. It's quite interesting to think a little bit about the history of this place. This is a report on the Woods Point area. By the mid-1860s, about 50 large mines were in full swing and hundreds of smaller claims were producing gold, and the town's population had increased to over 2,000 people. Woods Point actually had 3 suburbs, Richmond, Piccadilly and Gooley's Creek, with about, believe this or not, 30 hotels. They must have been a thirsty lot. Perkins Brewery, a courthouse, obviously, a police station, a hospital for the sick buggers, several doctors, a chemist, 6 banks, and that gives you an indication as to how much gold was found in the area, a post office, a telegraph business office, stores, livery stables, churches, dancing saloons, a newspaper, a Mountaineer soap factory, ginger beer, a cordial factory, abattoir slaughterhouse, a town band, and a town crier to walk around and tell people what was going on. And that was all in the 1860s. Here, now there's about 30 people in the whole area. It's absolutely empty. But I'll tell you what, it is a wonderful place to visit. It's got such an incredibly rich history. It's wonderful country. It's God's country, guys. Come and see it for yourself.
The question for the experts this week comes from David Cheeseman. And David wants to know, is there an additive that can be added to diesel for cold conditions when alpine diesel just isn't available? Can he simply add kerosene? Now I know Reinhard from Verima Diesel will be the expert to answer that one.
Most of the winter fuel from the oil companies has 20 to 30% heating oil added to the diesel. It's not burning better, but the flow rate's better. The diesel tends to wax if it gets too cold, and it can block filters and fuel lines, which is of course a problem. People often get caught with that. They fill their vehicle up in the lower areas with normal standard fuel, drive high up into these snowy areas, and then get caught in the morning at one start. They sometimes ring up, what can I do? It's quite simple. If you have been caught like that, just get some hot water, and you don't have to worry with the diesel. Open up the bonnet, and if you have some idea where your fuel system is, you can pour hot water all over your fuel system, your filter, fuel lines, and it will melt the wax very, very quickly, and the vehicle will start. Some people run kerosene in Europe where it is minus 20 or lower, but in general in Australia we don't recommend kerosene. You can buy flow improvers. You can get it sometimes from fuel companies or some tractor companies. It's an additive and reduces the waxing of the fuel. So there's a few things like that, but in general we say if you're going to the high altitude snowy area, bite the bullet and have your tank refilled in the high area where they have winter fuel. I know a lot of people say I can buy my fuel probably a little bit cheaper in the lower areas before they leave Melbourne or the Sydney area, and then when they get up the snowy mountains they got plenty of fuel except at one start because it is summer fuel. So probably the best thing is to top your vehicle up with at least half the tank of winter fuel from the cold region area, and you should not have a problem.
For asking that question, you've won yourself a Piranha Clamp It. All entries go into the running for the Wholesale Automatics full automatic transmission kit, including a heavy-duty valve body, converter lockup switch and temperature gauge. A Lightforce HID 50-watt set of 170mm strikers. The Black Widow premium awning and the RFI antenna kit. If you drive a four-wheel drive with or without a dual battery kit, then it's time to upgrade. Modern vehicles and modern battery technologies require smart electronics, and the Piranha Off-Road Products DBE 140 dual battery controller has all the smart grunt you will need packed into an affordable and tiny package. Priced at just $170, the Piranha DBE 140 is the smart choice in dual battery management. For more information on how you can stay charged, visit piranhaoffroad.com.au.
To truly see the road ahead, some drivers need ESP. Others simply choose Light Force. Welcome to Light Force country, where your safety is our vision.
Whether you've got ESP or not, Light Force Performance Lighting is the smart choice. Driving an automatic four-wheel drive off-road can be downright dangerous. But for all you auto owners, help is now at hand. The auto experts at Wholesale Automatic Transmissions now offer complete 4x4 and off-road kits for most popular four-wheel drives. If you need to improve your towing capabilities, need more control for descents, or just want your auto beefed up for improved performance, then contact Wholesale Automatic Transmissions and they'll ship what you need worldwide. Check the website for details.
First up this week, we have a great looking 40 series out on Moreton Island after a huge 3-month rebuild, all done in the back shed. Next is this nice looking Triton, passing through the iconic carved sandstone tunnel after a day trip to the Wombian Caves. This GU patrol is helping out with a beach recovery at the Coorong in South Australia after a relaxing trip to Kangaroo Island. Now this troopy sure looks like it's had a fun trip. The photo was taken in Birdsville on the way to Uluru after some recent rain. And this week's last entry is this 80 series Land Cruiser, taken while checking out some of the many Victorian high country huts.
If you've just seen your photo, be the first to email Danny at your4x4.com.au and you'll win the Projector DC20 12V to 12V charger. All photos go into the major draw of a Kmart rear bar, a Berrima DP chip and a Travel Buddy oven. Check the website for full details.
The last couple of tracks coming out from Moonlight actually split off and sort of snaked across each other. There were some easier tracks and some ones that required diff locks and things like that to get us to the end result, being up onto Mount Terrible. Provided an interesting amount of challenges to cater for all levels of four-wheel driving and made a really good trip.
We've had a terrific day out here in the high country. It's pretty cold now where we are. This morning we did the Morning Star Mine track. The track was very, very pretty with beautiful scenery from the trees, the tree ferns, the greenery, the whole lushness. In fact, the whole Victorian high country is just spectacular. It really is. We travelled then out to Scott's Reserve at the bottom where we did a little creek crossing, then headed down back in towards a place called Comet Flat. Comet Flat's just out of Woods Point and that's a great area for camping. From there we went up around the back into the Johnson Hill and a heap of other tracks around the back to look around and see what we could see. Came back down again on the main road, back down towards Knockwood. Then from Knockwood up the famous Moonlight Spur, which we talked about earlier. From Moonlight Spur right up here to Mount Terrible via Ryan Spur. So it's been a terrific day.
Okay, well, we spent the afternoon doing a bit more challenging four-wheel driving than we did this morning. This morning was a nice leisurely cruise, and this afternoon we've headed up to Mount Terrible, which was about an hour's drive over some pretty challenging four-wheel drive terrain. Parts of it were pretty easy, but we got to use the lockers a couple of times, and we definitely needed them, especially the last bit getting up the top of the hill here. The weather's held off pretty well. There's been no real rain. We're up at about 1,200 metres again up here at Mount Terrible. Beautiful views on one side, people fog on the other. It's been a great trip, great day. We've made it to our final destination, Mount Terrible, just what Alan planned. It's been a really enjoyable couple of days.
The group of people that we've been with are a lot more experienced in these conditions to myself, so I've been sort of dragged along a little bit by the skull sometimes, but generally I couldn't say more for the people that I've been away with. A fine bunch of fellows and a really good group to spend some time with. You know, we've enjoyed each other's company. They've been very patient and professional in the way the recoveries have been carried out. I couldn't say more for the organisation. Really enjoying it. I hope I get another invitation again and I'll be the one with my hand up ready to go on the next trip, that's for sure.
Once again, the Woods Point Jemison area has produced a spectacular tracks and scenery. If you haven't been out here, please make the time, grab the family, some friends and come up here and enjoy it. It's a spectacular part of Australia. The high country, particularly the Woods Point track, no matter which way you look in Woods Point, there's tracks leading everywhere. Some of them easy, some of them hard, but they're certainly worth an effort and hope to see you up here at some time.
Left this morning and we headed out via a few tracks back into Woods Point, looked at a few gold mines and went up through Woods Point up another track that we found and headed up Moonlight Spur and up here onto Mount Terrible where you see fairly misty and not much of a view. Quite chilly as we're sitting on top of the mountain, but as you can probably see in the background there's the fire tower and all the telecommunications for all the area. But yeah, overall it's been a really, really good trip, so nothing too difficult today, that's good, but been nice and leisurely and a little bit more relaxing, so overall been a really good trip. Simon Miranda have been using their little travel buddy ovens and providing everyone with snacks along the way, little party pies and sausage rolls and donuts. It's been absolutely fantastic, so they've been great hosts as well for this trip.
Couple of days that we've done, we've had some absolute challenges on them. The group has been spectacular, a great bunch of guys. Can't wait to get up here again. Enjoyed it greatly. Thank you.
I wanted to thank everyone that was involved in putting this together and yeah, look forward to the next one.
I'm Stuart from Holst Automatics and we'll see you again on the next YOUR4X4 trip.
It's the end of the day now, it's about 4:30, it's starting to get very, very cold, you can feel the mist rolling in and we start heading for home from here. So guys, it's been a great one, thanks for coming along on the trip and enjoying it. We've had a ball, hope you have too.
Travel buddy is good.
Well, unfortunately, the end of another episode, but we've certainly enjoyed our time in the Woods Point region.
We sure have. We've done winching, we've done the tourist thing, we've had a look at some of the gold mines in the area. There's plenty to do up here.
I'm Simon Christie.
And I'm Danny Sparks Cousins.
We'll see you next week on another fantastic YOUR4X4 adventure.